for Black and White Sports Week 8 Power Rankings. We're starting to sort of see some separation in teams, and we're seeing teams fall back. We're seeing teams move up. We're seeing teams that we still don't know what they are necessarily. Let's roll. How this works, I give my top 5, and then I tell you basically in the 6th position is sort of interchangeable with some teams. And let's start there. Number 6-ish, 6, 7, 8 are all interchangeable, maybe tied. You could consider it. Seahawks, Ravens, Texans. Okay. That's my 6, 7, 8 right in that area. Chiefs with Mahomes, but he's out. So I dropped him back, dropped him way back. The Patriots and the Chiefs held the first 2 spots for like the first 5 weeks I did this. Okay. I also am a Niners fan, but I've been very objective on them. I kept them out of the ranks for a long time. And then last week I moved them all the way up to 2. Not so fast. Now, number 5. Number 5 is the Indianapolis Colts. I like what the Colts are doing. I really like Frank Reich. But I will tell you, when I start looking at my power rankings this time of the year, we're starting to know what competition looks like. And I do care about that. They've got a win over the Titans. They've got a high-quality win over Pat Mahomes in Arrowhead. And they've got a win over the Texans, okay, in their own division. So they've played Derek Carr. They've played Matt Ryan. They played Patrick Mahomes. They've played they did lose to Phillip Rivers. They did lose to Derek Carr. But I think the Raiders are actually stiffer competition than they're getting credit for right now. So I consider that to be a good game they played. All right. They were competitive, but they've got 2 really great wins under their belt. So that's why I have them at my 5 spot. I think the Colts are a good all-around football team. Offensive line is good. Running back is good. Defense is solid. Okay. And Brissett looks like a really good game manager. Like he could be Alex Smith. All right. And I think you can win a hell of a lot of games with Alex Smith. I do. Number 4. This team was number 2 last week in my rankings. They actually dropped, even though they won with me. My very own San Francisco 49ers. And you may be like, why did you drop them? I dropped them because they went to Washington and won 9-0. All right. One of my issues with the Niners is when I really look at their schedule, they've got one decent win, I consider, over the Browns. And yes, they beat the brakes off of them. And they dominated the Rams, which is a good win. I think the Rams are pretty good still. Okay. But I don't care if there is a monsoon going on in Washington. You have got to put up more than 9 points on a stink-ass Washington Redskins team. That Redskins team is in the bottom 3 in the league in a dogfight with the Fins and the Falcons as the 3 worst teams in the league. Jimmy Garoppolo still didn't look good. And he is my biggest concern. The defense is good. The running game is good. Defense may be historically good. But I want to see wins against better competition. Okay? Bengals, meh. Steelers without Big Ben, meh. Redskins, okay? I don't like that. I am concerned about this team from the standpoint of we haven't really played anybody. And many of the teams in my power rankings right now fall victim to this, or at least two do that I believe will be 1 and 2 on most people's ranks, won't be on mine. Number 3, the team that has held the number 1 spot all season until this week, and I understand they just traded for Mohamed Sanu. They just beat the holy hell out of the Jets. The Patriots are my number 3 team, and you're like, what? We have to be objective in taking a step back and looking at the fact that the Patriots, their one quality win, in my opinion, is over the Steelers at the beginning of the year. They beat a Dolphins team. They've beaten a sorry-ass Jets team twice. They've beaten a sorry-ass Redskins team. The Bills are okay-ish, and the Giants are a sorry-ass team right now. Okay? And that team didn't have Saquon in that game. So I'm looking at competition now. I think the Patriots will probably win the Super Bowl. I think the Patriots, as their schedule gets harder and they start getting wins against quality teams, very likely I'm going to have them back at number 1 pretty quick. Okay, that's my guess. But you're going to find out about the Patriots coming up. Ravens, Eagles, Cowboys, Texans, Chiefs. Mahomes will probably be back by that game. So they're going to have about 5 tougher games coming up on the schedule. And we're going to see how they do against a little stiffer competition. I think the Ravens could give them real problems. They always have. So that's it. The Patriots are 3. I know people are like, what? They're undefeated. I don't care at this point, okay? I'm thinking about not only what you've done, but future projection, all right? Number 2, the Green Bay Packers. And if you look at the Packers schedule, they've got 1 loss to the Eagles. And that was a pretty close game. But they have wins over the Cowboys in Dallas. They've got a win over Chicago in Chicago. They've got a win over the Minnesota Vikings, which looks like a pretty good team. They've got a win over the Oakland Raiders, which I think are actually a sneaky decent team this year. And another sneaky decent team, the Lions. Okay, they got a win over the Broncos. But their quality of win and their competition has been stiffer. There's not a bunch of Dolphins and Jets in there and Redskins. And that matters to me right now. Aaron Rodgers has been the best quarterback in football for the last game and a half. He put up a historically great game in the last. He said, him and Matt LaFleur just said, this is how the offense is going to work. And it is scary. Their defense is much improved. I've got the Packers at number 2 because their competition, the teams they have beaten, is impressive. And number 1 right now, in my coach of the year so far, the New Orleans Saints and Sean Payton. It's unbelievable what they've done since Drew Brees has went out, but their quality of win is impressive, in my opinion. They've got 1 loss to the Rams, all right? But they have beaten the Texans. They went to Seattle and won. That is a huge win for me. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the Jags in Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's undervalued. And they beat the Bears this past weekend in Chicago, one of the toughest places to play in the league. And the Bears scored some garbage points at the end. That was a full steamroll blowout by the Saints. It wasn't even competitive. Really, when the Saints backed off on defense towards the end of the game, the Bears scored some fluky Maduki points, and that was it. Totally worthless points. They got a beatdown put on them, the Bears did, by the Saints. With Teddy Bridgewater. That is my number one team because of quality of competition to this point. All right. I mean, these wins, those aren't any jokes. Look at the quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, who is on a lot, Russell Wilson and Deshaun Johnson or Deshaun Watson are the top two arguable MVP candidates right now, 1 and 2. They've played Dak. I mean, 3 quality quarterbacks. They have played and they have beaten on their schedule. I think the Saints are highly impressive right now. Do I think they could beat New England? I don't know. If it was in New Orleans, very possibly. This team is running on all cylinders, and people are not looking at the Saints and giving them enough credit on defense. They've got a very good defense. You tell me what you think. I think this is probably going to be a little more controversial because people automatically think you've got to put the Patriots and the Niners in the top 2 slots. And no, both teams have beat and dominated, except the Niners this past weekend, a bunch of trash-ass quarterbacks and trash-ass teams. And that matters to me. If the Niners or the Patriots would have played the same scheduling as the Saints and come out with the same record, but either one of those would be in the first slot. It's just that simple. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.